And welcome in, everyone. Let me go ahead and get myself spotlighted here. All right, welcome to a Doc Talk. We are back after a little bit of a break, but we are very excited to have you all in here. It is 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and I'm sure we're going to get a big group in here tonight. So without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and kind of go over some ground rules, as it is a bit of a long time since we've had one of these things. So just to let everyone know, we will be keeping you on mute while we have Dr. Lashbrook and Liam Ridgewell up here in front of you all going through their Q&A portion. And then, of course, we do want to hear from you. So we will be taking audience questions from you all. They'll be directed to Liam and to Dr. Lashbrook. And so in order to display that you have a question, please use the raise hand button, which is located in the reactions area of Zoom. At the very bottom of your screen, if you're on a laptop or desktop, look for reactions. If you're on a mobile device, go ahead and click on participants and then find the raise hand button. So that's how we'll get you up here to ask your questions. And we look forward to welcoming Dr. Lynn Lashbrook after a little bit of a break from these Doc Talks. Lynn, take it away.
Thank you, Ike, and the entire staff. And Liam, appreciate you coming in today with your busy schedule. And I feel very excited about soccer. I grew up thinking it'd never make it, and I'm a victim. I'm a season ticket holder. My son owns the Las Vegas Light. We go to every game, and it's exciting, the World Cup, even the first stage game with England. Liam, I couldn't be more excited. What we do with all our Doc Talks is we start out with you. Sure, we have the bio up there, but let's go back to your personal story. Growing up and kind of Europe is different, but I think it's a great story. And take your time because it's important to all of us. Everybody's story is an inspiration. Liam, thanks for coming in today.
I appreciate it, and lovely to have everybody tuning in, and I'm sure more people coming as well. But obviously, starting football, I know everyone knows it is soccer, but I will not be saying soccer. I will be saying football. So I apologize.
Right, no. You have my, particularly today, but being an old football guy, I'm a victim, but I also think we're global. So you got me at hello. So go ahead, my friend.
I might confuse a few people once I say it, but yeah, football to me, obviously, growing up as a young boy, always had a football at my feet. Go forward ahead a few years at the age of 6, was going to the soccer schools or football schools of Charlton Athletic. Charlton Athletic wanted to sign me at the age of 6 onto their books to basically try and keep me away from everybody else. My old man, my dad, would not allow it. He said I was too young. Fast forward 2 years, I signed for West Ham's schoolboy at West Ham. So to dare say Charlton were quite annoyed with it was probably an understatement. First saying we were too young, and then suddenly turning around and signing for West Ham 2 years later. So was in their schoolboy system. I used to go twice a week to Chadwell Heath to train, and then play or train as well on the weekends, and which was a Saturday and Sunday. So like anybody that has been involved in football, any kind of sport or anything that's serious, mum and dad had to figure out a way of, 1, getting me there. 2, picking me up was probably the hardest part. My dad used to work in East London, so he used to drive back past Chadwell Heath on his motorbike, his Harley, pick me up, stick me on the back of the Harley, and then we'd drive back to South London in time to do some homework if I had it, or get up in time to school in the morning. So that was at the age of 8. So I then ended up around about 13, 14. I had a lot more clubs certainly on a Sunday league level, and playing for North Kent, my district, on a Saturday. A lot more clubs were sniffing around me, and asking a lot more questions. As any young lad, I used to hang around on the streets. I used to have a football under my arm. Most other people would have a beer or a smoke in their hand, or a spliff, whatever you want to call it, and they'd be doing that while they're figuring their stuff out. And I didn't touch any of it, and always looking for someone to play football with. So that was a bit different for me, and that was sort of my growing up. Got to 15, and Aston Villa approached my dad to say to come there, and I found that I needed to move away and get away from my friends at that age. Really, they were obviously into different things, so I thought, do you know what? Why not look around? This is a perfect opportunity. So I told West Ham I'm going to look around. Similar time, Manchester United wanted me to go up there and train with them, so I did 3 weeks at Manchester United training with them, and then on the way back down from Manchester, I stopped at Aston Villa and did 3 weeks with them. After that, really, when I was 14, Manchester United wanted me to come back again for 3 weeks. Aston Villa wanted to sign me straight away. And my mind was made up, really. I didn't really want to go back and train anymore. I wanted someone that wanted me. And so I signed for Aston Villa. Strangely enough, at the same point as I signed for Aston Villa, I played a few games. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a different rule back in the UK now about traveling. You can only travel a certain amount of hours or an hour and a half away from your home, basically. Right. You can't go further afield. So someone complained to the FA that I was traveling more than an hour and a half to get to Aston Villa. So I got banned. So literally, as a 15-year-old kid, or 14-year-old kid actually at the time, I got banned for a season. So my dad, being my dad, was, he was like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I still want to be at Aston Villa." He said, "Okay, you're going to go every single week. We're going to travel. We'll drive wherever we need to be. You can't be on a bus. You'll do the warm-up. You'll do the halftime warm-ups with the boys, and you'll do the cool-down. So it's to get changed and everything.
Wow.
And do the warm-up, not play at all, and then travel home back to London. So we could be in Manchester just doing the warm-ups." And he said that would show your commitment to the club. It did, obviously, and finished school at the age of 15, 16. Time to go get a job or be a footballer. Luckily enough, I was offered a 1-year YTS, 2-year pro. Signed for Aston Villa. Moved out of mum and dad's house into digs with another couple, basically. So they took on the role of being my mum and dad for the next 3 years to look after me and take care of me. Mum and dad dropped me off there. My mum's crying, going down the path to the car. My dad's sort of telling her to stop crying, hold yourself together. Your son's going to be fine. Which I look back now, we've got a 16-year-old, and I think, that must have been tough. So, I thought it was a time for me to grow up and sort of forge my own path away from my friends and school friends that were smoking, drinking, going out partying. I didn't do any of that, and spent my time for the next 2 years trying to forge a career for myself. Roll on a couple of years. I then went out on loan to Bournemouth, which Bournemouth back in the day used to take on talented young footballers, Jermaine Defoe, to name a few. So I was lucky enough to go on loan to them for a month and a half. I think I played 3 or 4 games, and the late Graham Taylor, God rest his soul, gave me my debut at age of 18 years of age. Came back and played against the Blackburn team in the FA Cup. So really, it sort of forged itself from 8 years of age up until 18 to make my debut. But it really, the change was certainly at 14 years of age at schoolboy, deciding to sort of take that step and move away and grow up. And then fast forward 20 years, and then I'm retired and sitting in front of everybody telling my story.
Give me the walkthrough, though, the elevation before you came to the States. Kind of give me the tiers that you went through. Not tiers, TARS, but if I may, just give us that bio walkthrough, because going from the next level, playing your way through, making decisions is pretty much a robust life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I spent 10 years in the Premier League, relegated once, obviously, with Birmingham City, got promoted, won the Carling Cup with Birmingham City. So, did 4 years with Aston Villa, moved to Birmingham City, did 2.5 years there, 2.5 years then at West Brom. So 10 years playing, in the Premier League. Got to 29. In all honesty, I got annoyed, I got frustrated, and didn't enjoy football. I needed something different. And luckily enough, I got a phone call from my agent, actually, when I was touching down in Vegas for my 30th birthday, saying the Portland Timbers want to sign you out in the MLS. For any player back in the UK, everybody says, "Oh, I'd love to play in America. I'd love to go out there, blah, blah, blah." And I was the same. I said, I'd love to do it. Didn't know much about it. And saying it was different to actually doing it. I think everybody says, "Yeah, I'd love to do it," and blah, blah. You never think it's really going to come true, because, it's a tough move. But I got the opportunity and came up here. Knew nothing about Portland Timbers, knew nothing really about the MLS, except for David Beckham played for LA Galaxy. We had no platform really in England. Sky Sports wasn't wasn't streaming it. You know, you didn't have Amazon, didn't have Apple and all this sort of stuff. So we used to just have the flash up at the bottom. David Beckham scores another wonder goal. Or David Beckham does this and blah, blah.
Yeah, right.
We had the perception of, LA and this beach and the sun and the sand. I got to Portland and it was very green and people told me it rained a lot. And lucky enough, I came in the summer in July. But that was my take on the MLS. That was my take in America. Didn't really know too much about it. Didn't really think it was going to be that big. Touchdown in Portland and watched a game and it blew my mind. It really did. It blew my mind. And I was
in what way?
It blew my mind with the fans. So to give you an example, they were playing Dallas at the time.
Yeah.
2-0 down at half time. Now, anyone that's been to a game in the UK or in Europe probably, 2-0 down at half time at home. It's not a fun place to be. Walking up the not a fun place. You're either getting heckled or you're getting stuff thrown at you, you're getting abused, and you're thinking, I'm not sure I want to come out the second half. A few players want to be substituted and might not come back out. But the fans were cheering the boys going in. Like it couldn't have been any louder than when they first started. And I thought, this is amazing. And they come back and drew 2-2. And it was because of the fans, and that blew my mind. I thought, you know what, this is the something different that I wanted in my career to ignite it again. So I wasn't even watching football to my time at the end of West Brom. I didn't watch any football. My mates come around and be like, can we put the Man United game on? No. What are we watching? I was watching cookery shows and things like that. Just wasn't enjoying it. Got the chance to come here and that sort of reignited it and sort of loved it ever since, and I'm back here for my second spell working on TV and talking about football.
How many years were you with the Timbers?
So I was there 4.5 years. So I signed July 2014. That first year we missed the playoffs, I think it might have been 2 points. I came in July, again, not had a great start, which we never seem to have a great start. We always seem to come at the end. And we just couldn't claw the points back. But that first sort of 5 months was a good introductory for me. Went back at Christmas, had a nice downtime, actually went on loan to Wigan Athletic that year, actually. Money side of it for Portland and things like that obviously helped out, kept me in England as well for a little bit extra time, so it worked for both people. And then came back, and then 2015 we won the MLS Cup. It was like a crazy thing, because something that I think myself, when I signed, I had the conversation with Merritt, obviously Gavin and Caleb Porter were the manager at the time, to say they asked me my ambitions. And then I turned around to them and said, well, what's yours? Yeah. They all sort of sat back and went, oh, hang on a second. Because I was like, well, if you're asking my ambitions, because they didn't want, this old 29 coming over here and just retiring or not doing it. And I was like, well, okay, fine. If you're asking me, but I'm asking, what's your ambitions? I'm not coming here just to not even make the playoffs and things like that. And they were like, well, to elevate the club. And we certainly did that. I feel like we did that on and off the pitch, which in my 4.5 years was a real proud moment for myself.
Absolutely. Walk me through. You retired, if I may. Tell me how that transition went.
So finished here, obviously in Portland in 2018. Went home, played at Hull at the back end of the 18 season. Finished there, and then. So I went in there basically as a backup to their centre halves, because I went in obviously in the February. So I was sort of, if they got injuries, which they were getting, I went in there to be a backup. But Hull, if anyone knows, Hull and London, now we're in America. Now I know distances are big, but in England, Hull to London is a long way. So obviously I didn't want to move the entire family up there. I didn't want to live up there because no one lived there. So I used to commute. I used to commute every morning and after training. Now it's 4.5 hour drive. Now getting up at 4:30 in the morning was not enjoyable. It was okay because you see the sunrise and it was beautiful, but a long way. So I did that for like 3.5 months. They were going a different way in the club, and it was sort of like, you know what, I love it, but it's just not. I wouldn't say not worth my time, but it was just become a little bit difficult being away from family.
Sure.
I was. So it was.
And then what?
Yeah. So then I came back at the summer, and I wanted a London club. I signed for a London club, literally lastminute.com, real late. A club called Southend. Can't go into depth too much with Southend because I've got gagging orders on me on what's going on there.
Yeah.
Which was just comedy. And then, do you know what? I come away from one game, and we was on to the pub, going to the pub with my wife and my kids, and I just thought it was started welling up and crying. And my wife's like, "What's the matter with you?" I went, "I think I'm done. Like, I don't want to play no more. Like, I don't. It's not enjoyable. Yeah. I'm like a bubbly character, like mess around and sort of have a good time and things like that." And that's it. I was like, you know what? I don't want to play no more. It's this. I need to retire. She was like, no, you enjoy. Don't quit just because of blah. Like, and I'm like, my agent was the same. See out the season, try and get through it. I'm like, I'm just not enjoying it. Yeah. And then it was 2 months before COVID. It was a pretty incredible. And then that was it. Retired during COVID. Mutual. Well, we figured stuff out with that club. And that was it, just for COVID, and then spent, all the COVID with the family. And to me, it was obviously a terrible time in everybody's lives, but a real good transition for me from doing everything every day, being told where to go, to suddenly going, well, I'll just get up and do nothing. I'll sit in my pants all day, literally. English pants, not trousers, by the way, but and do nothing. And it worked well in COVID to be able to do that. And then, that was sort of, I was allowing the younger generation to come through.
Sure.
The old heads are gone. It was more robotic, and it was a good time for me to retire.
I love the personal story. Transitioning out of playing. Tell us how that worked.
Yeah, so transition out of playing. So I've always, when I'm talking on the pitch, I've always tried to coach like on the pitch. So obviously finished up. And then once, obviously, through COVID, I wanted to get my licenses, my UEFA licenses, coaching licenses. So lucky enough, through COVID, obviously, they had them online. So I could take them online and do all the sessions and all that, and Zoom calls, as we all got to know through COVID, and started taking all them, completed all them. At the back end of COVID, a lot of football teams were going back. So I reached out to my old clubs, Aston Villa, Birmingham City, West Brom, West Ham. Aston Villa came back to me and said, "We'd love for you to come in." I said, "Obviously, I don't need paid. Don't want anything. I just want to come in, learn, pick up the ball, pick up the cones, anything I can do." So I was doing that twice a week on a Tuesday and Thursday evenings. So it would be a 3-hour drive up to the Midlands, 3-hour drive back. So commuting a little bit, but putting the time in. And then my friend plays for Dover Athletic. So he asked me if I would come in and take some defensive sessions. So then I started doing that. So I was doing that during the week and a game on a Saturday. And in between that, I was driving up to Birmingham on Tuesday and Thursday evenings to do training with them as well. So it was a men's team and then the academy within Aston Villa, which was incredible. Like, it was such a learning path, which was amazing. So I got to see myself come through Aston Villa's academy and then go back and see how much it had come on, and work with these young players and trying to reignite how I knew youngsters were. I know my own boy, but trying to delve into their mindsets and think how they were. So that was great, perfect. Come out of COVID. Ross Smith, who was obviously on the broadcasting side with the Portland Timbers for 12 years now, kept in contact with him all the time. Nat Borchers was leaving, so back end of last season, he was leaving out of it, and he said, "Oh, would you ever do TV?" I was like, what you're doing is you're just chatting football and convincing people you know what you're talking about. Absolutely, yeah, sure. So, and then it just thought, I'd got a phone call the next day from Matt Smith, who runs it all, and said, "Oh, would you be interested?" I said, "Absolutely. I've always interested to come back to Portland in some capacity, coach or trying to get back here." And then the opportunity came up to do the TV side. And I was like, definitely. The insight we're broadcasting it, the in-depth conversation you have with players and managers behind the scenes are incredible. So a lot of notes taken. So that was then my passage back from England to Portland to come back out here. So pretty wild, that's for sure.
Are you enjoying it?
I love it. Really,
yeah, you're very good at it.
I bought So I did a little bit with Sky Sports, before a game, halftime and after, which is the easy part. The hardest part certainly is watching the game, trying to tell people what you're seeing while having a producer in your ear telling me to slow down or convince me or change my vocabulary of what it is. So it's sort of trying to come out and go in at the same time, like, woof, it's a lot to take in, but yes, it's an incredible.
They do that to me. I got about 10 people working for me right now. Don't screw this up. Liam, I love this story. Before we go to questions with the group, I've got 2 or 3 questions. And remember, growing up in Kansas City and watching the late Lamar Hunt, really, he believed in soccer. I watched him open up with the Kansas City Wiz then. And my son was interning for the Kansas City Wiz. So I went to the Chiefs, and there's 10,000 people, or maybe 20, but more like 10. It seemed like 10. I said, this will never work. I didn't tell my son that. And when I went to Birmingham, saw my first soccer, I fell in love. Derek Bragg did a good job mentoring me, but I'm totally fascinated by the growth, and obviously it's part of our company. And let's talk about the development of the MLS. The first thing that the others would say around the world, it's not anything like anything else, but I've watched it grow as you have. Let's talk about the version of the academies. And, Europe was 5,000 years ahead of America, but America's coming. So let's talk about what the MLS is doing with academies. I got 2 or 3 questions. Others, as Ike will tell you, be ready to post your questions, because Liam's here for this hour to answer questions, which you did very well by telling us your story. So let's talk just a little bit about the academies and the success and the challenges.
Yeah, I mean, the academies is a huge part. I think what David Beckham, just to go back, what David Beckham bringing awareness back to England and showing that someone could still, go on and play football and, go on loan to AC Milan still while he was playing for the Galaxy was a huge eye-opener for a lot of people, which is great. And I love it. Bringing these stars into the MLS is brilliant. But what it doesn't do necessarily doesn't necessarily help the academy, because you're spending on these players. What it does, it brings a great insight and an eye open to a lot of people. Now, what the teams in the MLS doing now, which is incredible, which I think is incredible. Now they're reinvesting the money of when they sell off a player, a Davies from Vancouver, they've reinvested into the academy. Now, what that does is it brings players through for them to be able to sell on. Sell on was as a profit that they've trained up. So now they're obviously, the academies are now employing more coaches. The one thing certainly I've seen over the last probably year or 2 years, they're now doing schooling within the academy as well. So not only are the boys going to school, say at their school, and then traveling in, a lot of them are doing the schooling within the academy, within the training ground, which is incredible. So they're on site every single day. They get to see the first team players, how they act, how they do everything they do during the day. So these young boys get to see this, and obviously they get the schooling work as well. So this day in out interaction with everybody and football and work has been such a big growth to me, certainly within the academies. And the earlier you get them, the earlier you get the boys into the academy, can be the better way. Yeah, you can get a boy later on and they're a bit more raw and they bring a lot more into it. But what the clubs are now doing, now reinvesting into the academies. A lot of the academies are on site in the training grounds as well. So now training grounds are going to be a bit bigger as well. So you've got them in and around. So hopefully this will then churn into then the national team, the 16, 17, 19, 21s.
Let's have the one question I want to ask. The MLS expanded to 28. I've watched day one and I watched where it is. Season ticket holders since the day the MLS came. Enjoyed watching you and enjoyed listening to you. But let's talk about the growth and the respect or non-respect in the international and the rosters, international, domestically. What's your general take on the future?
For the future, listen, like I said, the UK and I think around Europe didn't have that respect before. They just thought David Beckham was coming here for David Beckham to promote himself. But we see the respect now. And now I say that because one, we're the UK and all around Europe, they're buying these young, talented American players. And now we're even seeing them going to the Premier League. And now we're even seeing young, talented managers, Jesse Mark, going in to manage into the Premier League. Now, I don't think there's any bigger compliment to what we clubs MLS are doing right now, that we are able to produce these type of coaches, and they can go and do it in the Bundesliga and into the Premier League and the Premier and managers too. So I think that's
very exciting. Before we talk about the course, and then we got plenty of questions already. They're raising their hand. I look at. I'm an NFL guy, but I've been telling people, my football people, if I say American football, I tell them that Friday, the England stage match with the USA, the audience, kind of like Amazon on Thursday night, American football. But correct me if I'm wrong. I've asked Tommy Smith the same question. Do you think it'll be a very, very significant viewer audience the Friday after Thanksgiving for that World Cup stage?
I think so. I think it's going to be a lot of people just drinking through the night to the next day. I know what I will be, just to get ready for the game, that's for sure, whether it's a water or a beer or whatever your choice is. I think it's going to be, again, I think it's a great platform. And I'm English, obviously I want England to win, but it's going to be a great platform that hopefully that America can actually do themselves justice, because it's right after Thanksgiving the next day. I mean, it's perfect. To me, it's perfect. Not on Thanksgiving, because you'll lose the numbers, but the next day, it's like Boxing Day for us in England after Christmas. You get a Boxing Day game. I
agree, and I will say this: I watch the NFL now. We've been over to England many years for NFL game. They sell out in 20 minutes. They're going to Germany. They go to Mexico City. They're catching on. The Jerry Jones of the world realize that soccer. If you have 8 billion people out there, you get 1 billion people for World Cup. We get about 120 million viewers for the Super Bowl. And you think about that, it's exciting time. Liam, real quickly, you're our new instructor with our new course. Talk just a little bit about what you hope they can accomplish in a course with you.
I think obviously we've signed up for me. One, I want people to enjoy it. I really want people to enjoy what we're doing. I want people to enjoy trying to advance their own skills in their own field and what they're trying to do with that dream job, or even that job that they're trying to look for, to advance on that and to learn about it as well. I think I want it to be interactive as well, that people can feel like they can talk and certainly conversate about it. But the most important thing is certainly to learn and to enjoy it. Like I say, I didn't enjoy my last part of my time at West Brom before I came to America. So I certainly want people on my course to enjoy it and to learn. Hey, we take it together and enjoy ourselves.
And have fun. We're going to go to Asa. Asa's got a question, and I take pride in our DNA for 25 years. Is students get to every week ask you questions, whatever the question, and your resources are exciting. The book doesn't cover what you know about the game, if I may. So it's a thrill. Let's start going to our questions. Ike, I'll go to you with Asa with the first question. Please raise your hand and put your question or have your question ready, and we'll get you in. We'll get everybody in this hour. Go ahead, Ike. You take it from there.
Yeah, welcome in, Asa. Go ahead.
Perfect. Awesome. Asa here. Thanks so much to both Lynn and Liam. Really appreciate you guys.
Introduce yourself too for the audience. Thank you.
Asa from Iowa here. So thanks you both for taking the time. But question for you, Liam. I really would appreciate your perspective playing both in England and America. Obviously, we love seeing the growth of the MLS. Lynn, I love saying you were involved with the Wiz. My family had season tickets to the Wiz back in '96, so we go way back there too.
That's a great story. Yeah, I was there, right.
But my question is, I don't think it'll happen, but I would love to see it happen, especially with some good USL teams advancing. But will we ever see promotion and relegation here in the USA? I think it'd be great for the game, especially with what Sacramento FC just in the US Open Cup final here a few weeks ago. So I'd love your perspective. Will we ever see it? And if so, how would we see that? But thanks again, guys.
Liam, I think that's a good question. I'll comment after you, but I love the question.
I so appreciate it. Thank you. Lovely to meet you, obviously. Good question. I mean, it's a great question. I've always advocated for it. I've loved the promotion relegation, because it really makes the end of the season really exciting if you're not involved in any playoffs or certainly going higher up. I'd love to see it. Do I ever think I would see it? Probably not. I don't think the American owners, we saw a lot of people that come into the Premier League try and do a Super League. That's guaranteed money. If you start putting relegation into it, their money can fluctuate. Now they're in a money, most are in money oriented into business, so it makes it tough. They know how much money they're going to get every single year. So as much as I would love to see it in that competition, certainly towards the end of the season, I don't think it's going to happen. Certainly, certainly in my lifetime, that's for sure.
And before I go back to Austin with anything else, Liam, I also concur with that. I've watched, traveled the world, and there's just this capitalism here of different a game plan. I do think the USL, and I told you I'm watching my son's USL team, and I know it's a tier. It's not necessarily tier 2, but it's a tier. But I give them a lot of credit. A lot of the franchises are innovative, and they actually are going to be promoted with a franchise, if I may. So the back way, it's an awkward American way, but there is some sort of an opportunity to establish your base. And look what Dallas has done, and so many others. And I remember my son was in Orlando City. My point was, it's pretty exciting, the opportunity to grow franchises. And Commissioner Garland said that he really wants more. So it's kind of exciting. Let's go to the follow-up question or next question. Ike, who do we go with? Ike, don't fall asleep. Oh, Ike's
Can you hear me, Len?
Yeah.
Len, can you?
Is it Adam? Adam, go ahead. But introduce yourself, even though you're well known in the family at SMWW.
Yeah.
He's a Green Bay Packer guy, so watch out for this question is somewhat superficial. But go ahead, Adam.
Well, no, I was having some technical difficulties.
I love you,
thought
Adam.
I'd step in.
Yeah,
if you can hear me all right.
we can.
I do have a question. Liam, are you familiar with the show Wrexham FC?
I am. Yes, I am with the star study.
Okay.
I am. Yeah.
So how realistic? I know it's edited for TV and things like that, and obviously Ryan Reynolds and Rob becoming the owners was a big deal. But how they got, and I'm not the biggest soccer fan, as you can see, that's a 1919 Packers poster behind me. But how, that team getting regulated, and they used to be a very high up team, and that are now down to, I believe, 5th division in the TV show. Yeah. And now them trying to build the club back up, and they brought in a very big name player to kind of help spark that. But is that the way they're perceiving that on television? Is that, are they showing kind of how things work in regards to how realistic it is?
I haven't seen a lot of it, but what I've heard of it is seems pretty realistic. Now, obviously, that's a huge club, like a huge club from Wales. So it's not in England, it's in Wales, but they are in the National Football League of England. So their draw is big because they're in Wales. But for them to go and buy Wales and certainly Wrexham to go and do that is massive. But it's being perceived quite well. I think the ins and outs of it, they could probably show a little bit more, and they probably hypened up a little bit more. But bringing these players in on this money, they're gambling on quite a lot to get promotion back and get back up the leagues.
And they just actually bought the stadium back from a trust that was holding the stadium. So
that's right.
I find the show very interesting, actually, being not the hugest soccer fan. But
I think it's a great insight to be able to watch the runnings of lower teams. It's way worse. They're not getting as much money. They're not getting any really TV money. So now you've really got to put a lot of money into a team to get promoted. If you don't, then you weigh up the pros and cons of it. If you don't get promoted, you then need to add more money. Do you carry on down that street? Do you then draw it back? The team doesn't own the stadium, so then they bought that back, which is huge. So that will bring their own revenue. In not owning a stadium, they weren't getting most of the money from the fans and people coming back in. So now doing that, I think with the show, this elevates them around, the world, certainly, for people to see it and actually realize how much of a task it is to actually bring this club back. So they're doing an incredible job. I just really do hope they're there for the long haul instead of jumping in, investing a load of money, and then potentially jumping back out again, which I don't foresee actually.
Yeah, and that's what they're perceiving. That's what they're perceiving in the show right now. Is when they sold the stadium, they're like, "Are you really looking out for the best interest, or is this just a marketing ploy for the television show type of thing?"
That's what a lot of the fans, their perception of it at the start. I think it's changed a little bit now, but that was a perception. It was sort of a publicity stunt that they jump in, do a few little things, and then jump back out again. That's no good for the football club. That's no good for the fan base. It's no good for anyone that's employed. So a lot of people are certainly changing their mind, actually thinking, do you know what? They're for real. You know, they want to try and get them back into, you know, the football league and then climb the tiers to try and get them back to, you know, a League One or a championship where they were before.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Adam, thank you. And if Ike's out, let me know if there's a question throughout your career, mental performance. Let's talk to who asked for that, Adam? A lady asked, and we may not be able to get her. We had a technical difficulty. This show goes
Hey,
on.
Lynn,
like
I'm actually back now. Thankfully,
back.
my internet has decided to work again, but
Who's
I'll
the
read it
next
out for you.
Because my questions are somewhat fabricated, and Liam's reading through them right now because I think I'm pretty knowledgeable, but I'm
no problem at all. So the
Okay.
question from the chat, as you probably see here, Liam, is throughout your career, how often did you use mental performance training or a sports psychologist or mental performance coaching? You know, when you're obviously trying to get into the coaching side. So when coaching, do you stress the mental side of the game along with physical? And if so, how much?
Yeah, good question.
I mean, what a question. That really is a modern day question, because when I was coming up through the ranks, there wasn't, you know, mental performances. There wasn't someone to talk to go about that. Now, the problem with you know, performance mental, you know, trainers or people you talk to, a lot of footballers, certainly in my day, didn't believe on it. I'm going to sit down and talk to you about my problems and blah, 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 and what I can do better. And you're going to tell me what I should be doing and shouldn't be doing. That sort of went out the window. Nowadays, it's blossomed. It's incredible. And I think a lot of the coaches or sports, you know, people that are trying to help now, they've been in football or they've been in the sports world. So then the footballers, they can relate to them. They can relate to someone and think, oh, do you know what? Yeah, they've done that as well. So, you know, certainly in the knowledge within football, certainly taking more knowledge to be able to help that with the footballers was a big thing. When I went to Hull, I met his name eludes me right now, but he was amazing. And he sat down and he wouldn't go in too much depth. He'd just say, how are you doing? How are you feeling? It might be a 30-second chat or a 3-minute chat, but it sounded like someone really took time to sort of talk things over. So it wasn't used a lot in my day. The back end of my career, yes, I loved it. I really connected with someone, so it's that connection. But when I was growing up, certainly weren't talking to someone. If he was talking to anyone, it's probably talking back to the manager, which didn't go down that well.
So, Liam, I'm going to ask you a question. Talent discovery and scouting, just for a moment, and analytics and everything else. Help me out. There's 8 billion people out there, and it's no longer, and we're doing well in the USA. Kids are choosing in high school to become a soccer player. In my day, I'm not sure you could do it in the Midwest. It was really difficult to imagine anything besides baseball, football, and basketball. And I'm proud of myself at 73. I'm pretty global, if I may, and I absolutely love soccer. My wife says it best: an hour and a half later, it's over with. And I'm sure many of you soccer guys go to American football and say, God, these timeouts are killing me. But anyhow, that's another day. But my question is, I see a lot more talent, but I also want to ask you the question, identifying talent. When I talk to Gavin many times, international, global, and then keeping the chemistry in the locker room. You've been around the world. Let's talk about talent discovery and, you know, different parts of the world and certain styles. I just want your thoughts on that, because the students will learn a lot from you because you've been in the game so long.
Yeah, so obviously I mean, first and foremost is the connection within the changing room, in the locker room. So going out and finding the player, one, you're going to select them while you're watching them. They might score a goal, they might do something really well in defending or something like that. So that's great. Identifying is key one. But the second part is, what is that person as a character? Does that person, he or she speak English? Does he or she just speak Spanish? So then what players have you got in your changing room to be able to look after them? You know, what people have you got to look after them within the club? So identifying that, and then obviously then you've got to identify how much money they're going to want, you know, so then that's going to come into it when you bring them into a changing room. So you sort of go down these keys of what to try and find and how to fit in, what type of player that you actually want and what you want in your changing room, and then go from there. For the MLS at the minute, I'd say probably the biggest problem is a lot of teams don't have scouts in every single country.
Right.
So they haven't got people on the ground, hands on, knowing it day in, day out. So you've got platforms, you know, where you can watch a player, but it's not like in real life. So then people have to travel, you know, i.e. Manchester United will have a scout in every place in the world.
Yeah.
I'm watching football in day in, day out. So that's where it comes into, can be a real toughness to try and find them players, to try and bring them in. But MLS is doing a great job so far of just trying to establishing key parts where people can be, and certainly nick players or try and sign players from them, and then try and filter them out from there, really.
Liam, I know we haven't started the course. But let's talk about some of the weeks, what your intent is. We started with one student on dial-up Yahoo 25 years ago, and just kind of a agent course, if I may. And now we have 30,000 alum, 163 different countries. Reason I share, soccer is a big part of our following, if I may. And whether it's soccer agent or soccer management or soccer analytics, and we continue to bring in experts in the field. We don't think that I have a doctorate in kinesiology, and I took soccer at Springfield College, and I really was disgusted. I think this sport was a waste of time. I've changed, of course, but talk to me about what do you hope to accomplish in this course for a student? Because students invest, and what do they get in return? And I think only the professor, in your case, can give you a little idea of what you hope to cover.
Well, what I hope to cover is from a perspective that they're hearing it firsthand from someone that's been in it for over, 20 years. Yes, I played 10 years in the Premier League and 4.5 years in the MLS, but that's just not 14 years. I was in the academy. I grew up in football. I completely immersed myself into it. So any questions that they may have on their mind, whether it's might be someone older with their kids, do I send them to an academy early on? Do I let them sign? Do I allow them to do high school soccer? Do I allow them to do club soccer? So from the very start, I'm hoping that I can able to encourage, direct, help with the thought processes, certainly from parents or young kids or wherever people are at, trying to find their field, that then they get an understanding of what they might be walking into, what queries or questions they might run into that I might be able to answer before they even get them. They might even have questions. Hopefully they'll have questions, certainly for me, that they didn't even know they had or know they even needed. So I'm hoping that out of this course that people will get to understand a little bit of insight behind the Instagram, the Twitter, the TV that they watch, and really get a sense of what it is to forge a career in that desired role that they would like.
A little beyond what we learn in Ted Lasso on a weekly basis, right? By the way, I don't think that's been all bad for the game.
Definitely not.
Yeah. No, yeah. Okay, we're going to bring Mikhail, one of our colleagues and your colleague, former MLS player, and he wants to chat with you a little bit. Mikhail, come on in.
How's it going, Liam?
Hey, Mikhail.
Good to see you again. Good. So, since obviously you're going to start teaching the talent ID course, what are your thoughts about MLS teams owning certain regions where only they can attract, they have their own pool of fishing out talent? What are your thoughts on that? Because I live, I work and live in Hawaii, and only Seattle Sounders can basically touch our players. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't love it, in all honesty.
No.
I don't think that they can just be the only people. That player might not enjoy where they're going. They might not like the manager. They might not like the style of play. They might not like the city of where they are. The family might not like it. So I don't like that they can just go and people can go, oh, I've got dibs on that. I've got dibs on Manchester or wherever it is. I think it should be free game to be able to bring in the right players at the right time and the right place that they want to go, because the players should have an option to themselves, instead of going, right, no, you can only go to Seattle. I don't like Seattle. It's not warm enough. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Right. So I'm not a big lover of that. I would rather see that anyone can go there and bring that player into their club, and they can negotiate and do what they will when they want, really.
Great. Thank you, Mikhail. Go ahead, and now go to Nadim. Nadim next. Go ahead.
So I get that asked almost on a daily basis, because I work with a lot of kids in Hawaii, and they want to, but they're not. They feel like it's a missed opportunity if they.
Okay, we're losing Mikhail. I don't know I guess Sport Management has a wire problem. So Mikhail frozen. Are you there? Can you go now, Mikhail? No, he can't. So let's go to Nadim now. Take us to Nadim. Thank you, Mikhail.
Hey.
Go ahead, Nadim.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Lynn, as always, for organizing these events. They're always really great. We get a lot out of them.
Thank you. And introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are.
So I'm Nadim Ladani from Vancouver, Canada. Marketing consultant by trade, and interested in the scouting aspect of soccer. So I've been traveling around Central America, South America this past year, and I plan to do that again in this coming year. And kind of as a side gig on the side of my marketing consulting, I would be interested in doing some freelance scouting. And I wanted to get your input on this, Liam, if there is potential where I could, find a player and help them get into the MLS or ideally a European league in the future. And is this something that I could do? Would I be able to get paid a little bit for doing this? What's your take on that kind of career?
Miguel, thank you so much for your question, by the way. Just obviously you cut off. Hopefully I help with that and don't get told off by the MLS too much for my answer.
Right.
But I help with that one. But no, going back to that question, I think, listen, when I got picked up for Aston Villa, they had a scout that was a regional scout for London. So he wasn't necessarily on the books of Aston Villa, but he helped Aston Villa pick out players within London. So I think what you're doing is incredible. I think it's, taking your own time to be able to do that is great. I think, yes, there's certainly something in it, because listen, you might find that diamond in the rough that no one else has seen. You'll have your own opinions and own ideas about this player. Now, is there money in it? I'd probably say there is. If the player, goes on to play, say, a first team game, if the player goes on to play for a national team, so you can go stepping forward and you can layer it and see how you get from there and take it like that. But it's obviously finding that player first and then trying to find the right spot or the right club for him to be at. We talked about it.
Right.
Boys from Hawaii or girls from Hawaii just going to one spot.
Right.
Really getting in depth into who that player is, and how he plays and style of play and what he brings, and then trying to find that right club and trying to put him into. So hopefully that helps, and hopefully that answers it. But listen, I think it's an amazing thing you're doing on the side of what you're doing. It's people like you doing it for no money right now really elevates some kids, because they might not get picked up by certain teams that are not in their area. So hopefully that helps.
And Liam, ironically, and thank you, Vadim, we have an agent advisor program, and I say every agent has to scout. Mm-hmm. Why not monetize it? And we have an incredible footprint around the world. Relationships drive the business, and that's what we hope to help some people monetize. They take scouting, they fall in love with their knowledge, and they take the agent, so they have the mechanism. And either way, like Mikhail and Paul help. So it's kind of an exciting time what you're talking about. Every agent, every Uber driver picks up a client, and there's a lot of ways this is going to grow. And no team can have enough scouts for where there is the world. It's growing more rapidly than the infrastructure. So it's a fascinating time. Let's go to Ike for a question, and we'll almost wrap up here in a little bit. This is an excellent your first Doc Talk, and I'm impressed. I think we're going to bring you back, but you're making it fun. And we do send out the recording to everybody. We've had over 150 sign up. And because we changed the schedule, I'm sure that caused it, but we're glad we could accommodate you this week, and just delighted. Ike, go ahead.
Yeah, and this actually, I'll ask an audience question that was sent to me directly, which was, how were you scouted, Liam? You kind of, got into your story, obviously, at the start, but I mean, when did you kind of really start to know that you were being scouted? What was that like from your perspective as the player? Kind of give us that sort of insight.
Yeah, so I mean, I was first scouted when I was going to soccer schools. So a lot of teams put on soccer schools, you know, through the 6 weeks holiday that we had at home, or once you finish school, parents have had enough of you, so they try and put you in a soccer school to get rid of you for a day with your lunchbox and say, right, see you later, thanks.
Just get out.
I'll pick you up later. So I think that's certainly one place that you can get scouted, you know, doing well in a soccer school, and then they say, oh, do you want to come back and keep training?
Yeah.
For me, it was certainly playing in a Sunday league team, playing that way. And then you know, after a game, you know, my dad would let me know he'd been given a card, you know, from Aston Villa or, you know, West Ham, Arsenal, Spurs, in around that region. So then obviously they'd ring the house phone and it'd be like, oh, you know, would your son come and train? So it starts off training and would you come down? And that's probably the first part of it. I was in a good Sunday league team, so you got a lot of scouts down there. But there's scouts everywhere, you know. We just saw it as a lot of freelance scouts who go around and try and pick out talent, and
Right.
that was sort of mine. So on a Sunday league pitch, getting scouted for West Ham and going there and loving it, and that sort of started the road really.
Yeah, fantastic. And then my question for you is, it kind of piggybacks off of what Mikhail was asking in regards to MLS academies. From your experience as a player, but then also what you know about kind of the global game of soccer, and then obviously the development of talent, what do you feel like the MLS can really learn from an academy perspective from what the rest of the world is doing? Academies are not really an American type product. You know, it's much more obviously European. So what, I mean, beyond, I guess, opening up these regions that are owned by specific teams, you know, as Michaela was kind of asking you about, but in addition to that, what kind of do you feel would be most important for the MLS to learn from what the rest of really the world is doing?
Well, I mean, in really looking at it, I think the schooling part of it within the academy, if they can bring them into a training ground, into a classroom and being around it all day long, I think that's one of the biggest things that I've sort of seen over my time, from either being in it, going to college once a week with Aston Villa, and now seeing kids being brought out of school a couple of times a week and brought into the football environment. Right. So I think they're going in the right direction with it, with the schooling, because listen, the amount of footballers that make it is small. So you still need that education. I think America does a great job with that education side. Certainly once, you know, college, and they can freeze it and you can come back into that side of it. But if you can get the kids at a younger age and have their schooling still carrying on and still learning, but also in a football environment, I think that is a great way of the way they're going.
Thanks, Ike. And Liam, I have a last question here, and I'll have Adam and Mikhail stay to chat with the students. But the agent world, I've been an agent 25 years, wasn't my start. I was a college athletic director for years. I've watched the ecosystem of sports go global. I say go global or go home, and soccer has led the charge. But the agent, and the role the agent played in your career, and the importance or not importance of an agent in a new world that we're in. I know there's a lot of problems with agents sometimes, and jurisdiction is somewhat just like NIL. The world has changed. But your comments on your personal experience with an agent, and your comment on what a good agent would be.
Yeah, my personal my personal aspect on an agent has been an incredible one. I've had my agent for the last 15 years and never changed and had the same agent. I met probably about 6 or 7 agents, as you do, for coffee, and take that free coffee when you can get it, and have a little meeting and a sit down. But my agent that I was with, Rob Segal and Jonathan Orr, big agents, obviously back home in the UK. But it was more personable for me. I think for my agent, Jonathan Orr, he didn't wear this flashy suit. He didn't want to be out on nights out with me. He didn't want to take me to flashy dinners. You know, he just literally come along and said, listen, I'd love to represent you. If I can take anything off your hands to let you concentrate on football and do the one thing that you want to do, I would love to be able to do it. And that was it. I was sold. You know, he wasn't promising cars and watches and money and houses. It was literally, if I can take anything off your hands to help you, and you know, I can do that. That's what kept me with him.
Follow up to that question for Austin. Basically, you regret not going back to Manchester United.
Yeah. Do you know what? No, I don't. I don't regret it, because of the path that I forged with Aston Villa. It was great. I loved it. To be a Manchester United player would have been incredible. But at that time, Aston Villa said, we want you. We want to sign you. If Manchester United might have done that the 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, maybe I might have signed there, but no, I don't regret it.
Well, I just first of all want to thank you with your family and job and everything you're doing. And it's been an exciting season and getting to know you. I want to thank Paul for approaching you and trying to explain who this weird company is of 25 years and 30,000 grads from 163 different countries, and a guy that took his son out of soccer at 5 years old when he got 2 goals, protecting him from this game. And today he owns a soccer team. So you can imagine the innocence, the transparency, and the growth. And to watch soccer the Friday after Thanksgiving and understanding that football is the big one. And I know we use it probably wrongly, probably never should have stolen it for the first time. So I want to thank you for taking the time. We're going to have a lot of fun. A lot of students are going to stay around and ask questions, and we're going to have fun with that class. And we wish you the best, and just thanks for taking the time. And I want to thank everybody. Thanks, Liam.
No, I appreciate it. It's my pleasure. I think it's going to be an exciting time, certainly an exciting course and a fun course. So I'm looking forward to learning from the people that take the course as much as they're looking forward to learning.
Absolutely. That's the secret sauce. Thank you very much. Ike, I'm going to put it back to you and let you take over. Thanks, Liam.
Okay. Thanks, Lynn. And let's get Adam Klemick up here with Mikhail as well.
I was going to say, Sasha, it looks like he has one last question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let me bring Sachin up on board.
He just had gotten settled in from Canada. And
oh, very nice. Well, welcome in and fire away with your question for Liam here. Oh, let's get you unmuted. There we go. Sachin?
Yeah, hello, hi.
Yeah, go ahead with your question, please.
Last 3 years, I am with SMWW, and I would like to join your courses and your team because now I am settled in Canada and didn't get any way to go in sports field because in India I was in sports field, but here in Canada I didn't get a way to settle in or to go with the sports field. So how I can join your teams?
Where are you from in India? Where are you from?
I'm from Haryana.
Okay. I've been to your beautiful country. It's amazing. And we're delighted. And Adam and Mikhail will talk to you about that in just a minute. We're so thrilled you're in and look forward to working with you. Back to you, Ike.
Yeah, but now I am in Canada.
Yep, that and Adam and Mikhail will be able to better assist you with that during the rest of the call, as well as with any follow-up. So with that, I think we will bring in Mikhail and have he and Adam take it away from here.
And I want to remind everybody, all our courses now are for college credit for those that are students that are looking to want to take a course and get an elective and transfer back. Thank you, Ike. Great job today.
You're stealing my thunder already.
Well, Adam, I bet you've got second or third possibilities there. Thank you. Go ahead. Thanks, you guys. I'll listen in.
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank Liam once again for coming in. I think everyone that was in this Zoom meeting should be very excited about the Soccer Talent Identification course. It is starting up October 3rd. We are doing a promotion tonight where you do get a discount off the course. Ike, remind me of the discount code.
It is Liam100 in all capitals.
So Liam100 in all capitals. In the chat box, there was a link to sign up for the Soccer Talent Identification course. And also in the email you received to join this Zoom meeting, there is also a link to apply for that course. I would say any graduates of any of the soccer courses should look at doing this because and Mikhail, you can help me out. There's a big difference between what was taught in the soccer management and scouting course compared to being what is taught in the soccer identification course. If you kind of wanted a quick hit on that for people that might be alumni of the SGM course versus the identification course.
Sure. I think the big difference is the pathway of becoming, getting scouted for a professional club, like Liam's pathway and his journey, how he became from, started as a schoolboy playing as on the Sunday league, and then gradually from that point, making your debut for the first team. And that's how, and for scouting management, it's, we talk about managing the players, but also scouting for a club. For example, like Matt Martin, he's a scout for San Jose Earthquakes, and he goes out to South America and recruit players that way. So there's a big difference. And yeah, you get the role of an academy that we do teach or kind of brush up on, but it's the soccer talent ID. It's more in depth about what it takes, a journey from a young talent to all the way up to make his debut in the first squad.
And also another thing is I obviously took athlete management, represented a few American football players, but I also think this course, for anyone that's taken the soccer agent course, great course to take, just for the simple fact that when you're being an agent, you want to know what people are looking for, such as a person like Liam that can play at the professional level. And it saves your time as an agent to know those things, instead of just any player. I get hit up on Instagram or Twitter or, any sort of social media forums by guys that are going, oh, well, I want you to be my agent. Here's my film. And that's great. And I'll take a look at it. But you also want to know, what's going on at these academies, and also what they're looking for to identify talent that can play at the professional level. So would you say guys that took soccer agent, great course to take as well?
100%. And like Lee and myself, I got recruited when I was 11 years old for PSV Eindhoven. And, having that experience, it carries on a long way. And for players or agents, or even who took the GM scouting course, they're going to learn so much, because they don't get touched up on that journey and that part of, that's a big part of growing up, becoming a football or a soccer player for us well, not us Americans, but for most of you guys on here. So I think at the end of the day, what Liam's going to bring to the table is his experience and his journey, and that's going to make a world of a difference, because it's one thing to talk about it, but having to walk and talk about it, they're two completely different things, right? And I think that's going to be a big selling point. And I can't think of a better person than Liam to teach his course.
I completely agree. And for a guy like Sasha, I know you said you came up through India, you just got settled in Canada. It's a perfect situation to come and join our company. A lot of questions that I get asked. I've been with the company for almost 10 years now. Obviously, we have over 30 different courses that you can take in regards to any type of sport. Obviously, we're focusing on soccer tonight. Some of the things that I think that are different about our programs our courses is that you have industry professionals like Liam that have experience in what they're teaching. You're not learning from a professor that read something out of a college book that is trying to teach sports management at a university. These are people that actually have been through the industry, know the industry. You actually have live Zoom meetings with them. There's some other companies out there that have similar courses, but you don't actually get to speak with your instructors live. Where our course is, you actually speak to a gentleman like Liam every week on a Zoom meeting and get his knowledge, which I think is a huge deal when it comes to building your resume, building your soccer network. Some of the things we do for you after you complete the course, we have free resume services. Get everything you're learning in the course, we get that on your resume. We have a whole job links area of what teams are hiring and for what positions and where to be sending your resume. On LinkedIn, we have a huge alumni association of people you can connect with. And a lot of our alumni now are in hiring positions that now will hire in our students to bring them in because they know they've been taught what they need to know to work in professional sports, as well as a lot of the instructors will give out career opportunities via LinkedIn as well. We also have advanced certificate programs. A new big thing nowadays is getting a badge on your LinkedIn account. Those are available. If you've already taken a few soccer courses, that advanced certification would go very well on your LinkedIn profile. Obviously, a lot of employers are looking at people's LinkedIn profiles when they're considering them for the interview process. We have partnerships with Fort Hays State University now, where our courses can be transferred over to university credit, which once you apply for your course, if you're interested in that, your career advisor can speak to you in regards to how that can work. But you can take up to 3 of our courses for 2 credits each course and transfer them over to undergrad or graduate degree. Also, we have a doctorate program through Concordia University of Chicago. If you're looking to further your education and you already have a master's, you're able to get your doctorate as well. Obviously, we work with people. We have payment plans. Lynn mentioned during the chat, with any of the agent courses you take, we have an agent advisor program. Mikhail and I, Mikhail is the head of the soccer agency, and I head up the other sports. As it's been well stated, I'm not very knowledgeable on soccer, but it's a way to continue your education after you take any of our agent courses. And it speaks in regards to, okay, now you've taken the course, where do you go to start representing players? Mikhail, I would like you to add in, I mean, I know there's a lot of good things going on in the soccer agency. If you want to add in a few things on what you guys have been doing there.
Yeah, I think what we've been able to accomplish is to create a good team of agents that took our course, that we taught them the right thing and do things the right way. And integrity in this industry is sometimes very hard to find. And we want to make sure that we do things by the book. Now, the agents that they after they finished the agent course, a lot of them, they stay on board with us, and then we mentor them. So on Mondays we have our agent advisor chat, and they come with questions like, oh, how do I get in touch with this team, or what can I do to to recruit more quality players? And we give them criteria. There's teams that reach out to us. For example, the Portland Timbers, I get every month I get every other month I get an email from them, say, hey, this is Mikhail, we're looking for a player of this caliber, can be domestic, can be international, this is our budget, what do you have in your books? And once you get to that point, when teams are asking you for players, and that's a good point to be in, and we're going to teach you how to get to that point. And that's why a lot of agents, they stick around with us, and they like how we approach the industry, but also how we are, very responsive. We created a WhatsApp group for all of our agent advisors in terms of soccer. And if they have a question, we respond immediately.
I agree. I think when it comes to sports management worldwide, we've been in business for 20 years. We've had over 10,000 graduates get jobs in sports. I know I talked to a gentleman today from England, making sure it wasn't a scam. And I talked to him live to show him no. And also, if you look at the people that instruct our courses, such as a guy like Liam, they're not going to attach their name to something that doesn't work. So that's the whole point of this. Not many of you asked questions today, and that's fine. During the Zoom meetings, obviously, it's more one-on-one. We limit our courses to about 15 to 20 students. That way, it's a little more free-flowing, and you'll be called upon by the instructors. But if you don't have a question for that day, you just say, you know what, I'm good just listening. And as Dr. Lynn says, you're always welcome to have a beer in his course because it's online, and they usually take place later at night. And like I mentioned, they're all recorded and archived in the case you happen to miss any of them. And just ask your career instructors as well. We have the payment plans, but we work with people. I'm assuming some people in here might be immigrated over from Africa or another country, or like Sachin from India. we're willing to work with you guys as well, because we do offer country discounts or economic discounts from certain countries. But if you've come to the States or to Canada recently, and you're like Sachin said, he's just settling in, we'll be able to work with you. Just ask your career counselor, and the applications are free to go in and to apply for a course. All you got to do is go to smww.com. It takes him maybe 5 minutes to fill out the application form, and a career advisor will get back to you the next business day. Ike, am I missing anything, or do you want to step in at all? Or Mikhail, do you have anything else?
I'm most certainly good on my end. I think you guys have done a great job. I thought Liam did a fantastic job, obviously presenting himself as the newest mentor to the SMWW family. And I think that's really kind of the word that I also wanted to stress. I mean, you guys have talked about all of the services that we provide, but at the end of the day, I feel like what we try and build here is a family and a network. So, I always love what Dr. Lashbrook says of, we're not just here to, take your money and give you a certificate and call the relationship good there. This is for life. So I thought you guys have done a great job. I thought Liam and Dr. Lashbrook have done a great job. And I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of benefit out of this class. So make sure to use that discount code of Liam100, no spaces, all caps. It's been put in the chat. It'll also be sent out with the recording with this doc talk.
And let's bring in Sachin really quick. It looks like
sure. Go ahead. Let's bring him in. Go ahead, Sachin.
You look, by the way, Sachin, you look pretty comfortable settling in Canada.
Yeah, actually.
Go ahead, Sachin. What's your question?
Yes, my question is, I had my graduation in sports and master degree also in sports. I'm in handball national referee in India, and I have my own company over there that is all about sports and health. We are working in schools, ICSC and CBSC, international school is there. So currently in 5 schools, and I have more than 20 employees in India. My coaches, those are working in schools. That is a huge opportunity to sports. But unfortunately, I came in Canada, and I want to join that your family, like SM Sports Management Worldwide. And last 3 to 4 years, I am joined your company. I getting all the newsletter from your company, and I joined your before also Zoom meeting. I joined, and I like and love Dr. Lashbrook, who's like my ideals. He's very good person.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'll tell you what, the way you really get into our network, and we take one of the courses and get your feet wet so you really understand on what we do and what the courses are all about. I'm assuming you probably haven't taken a course yet.
Okay.
But once you take one of our courses, you get your feet wet, you become alumni for life. Dr. Lashbrook does a Sunday morning chat every Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can be a current student, you can be a past student from 10 years ago. And those live Zoom meetings with Dr. Lashbrook are open to all of our alumni. So once you take one course with us, you're an alumni for forever. And if you're interested in a future course, you get discounts. You get discounts on our conferences. We hold conferences for all the major sporting events there are. You'll get discounts off those. But I would say if you haven't taken a course with us yet, take a course with us and really get the understanding of all the benefits that happen. And in your situation, Sachin, you're in Canada and you have a company in India, but you take one of our courses and that could spread over to India. I mean, it's an international thing. Dr. Lashbrook actually took a trip to India and traveled to and did a meet and greet in India in regards to our cricket courses. So,
Definitely.
Oh, shit.
So my biggest thing would say, take a course and get really familiar with the company, because without taking a course, you can come on all these doc talks. I see a few people in here that are some of my people that have never taken a course, and that's fine. and they come into these doc talks. But eventually, if you're coming into these doc talks over and over again, you have an interest in working in sports. And that's the goal for us, is when you sign up for a course, that at the end of the day, we want you to get a career going in sports and put you on our success stories and get you up on our website. And at the end of the day, I think that's why students take our courses. It looks like Henry might have a question.
All right, Henry, let's go ahead and bring you in.
Up, Henry.
Yes, can you hear us, Henry? Henry, I'm sorry, it's you're breaking up really
choppy.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you type your question for us? I'm sorry, Henry, it's still very choppy. If you could type your question, we'd be happy to answer it for you, okay?
All right. I wish, I'm assuming Henry's internet connection probably isn't the greatest, but why don't we give Henry a minute to type in his question. Does anyone else have any questions? Mikhail runs the soccer agency. I handle the rest of the sports. Does anyone else have any questions in regards to Liam's upcoming course? I know Ike posted in the chat room subjects that will be covered. If anyone has any questions on what you're doing on a weekly basis in a course, I could summarize that for you. But does anyone else have any other questions that we could answer for you while you're on this call? Asa, I know you're one of my leads, and I've contacted you several times. Do you have any questions? I see you don't have your camera on anymore, but I would like to answer any questions now while we're all on here. And I think, you know, trust me, at the end of the day, I never thought I'd become a sports agent. And I took athlete management, and I've went on to represent over 9 NFL clients. So my dreams came true through sports management worldwide. Asa, you typed in how much homework is there per week? It depends on the course. I always tell people on average, most people spend around, and this is an average, but I always say it's around 6 to 8 hours a week, including the Zoom meetings. Depending on the course, you're going to receive materials from us, which includes books that are handpicked by the instructors. You'll do weekly readings out of those books. You do a discussion board posting, which summarizes what you've learned in those readings. You do a weekly quiz that prepares you for the final exam. You can take those quizzes as often as you would like. It doesn't penalize your grade. You'll do what I think is very important in the course is a minimum of 2 informational interviews. And what those are when you're contacting people in that sport. So for me, in athlete management, I had to contact a professional player and ask him how he picked his agent. And I had to call a compliance officer at an NCAA school to see what their regulations are when agents come onto campus. Now, we have students that do multiple informational interviews, and they end up getting hired by the people they did the informational interviews by. Then towards the end of the course, you'll do a final paper, which is basically a summary of your weekly discussion board postings. And then you take a final exam, which all is pulled off of the weekly quizzes you take, which we call 2-minute drills. But on average, I would say most students spend around 6 to 8 hours a week of coursework. And that depends on the person and how you learn. Sometimes, like when I took athlete management, I was part owner of a restaurant and brewery, and my only days off were on Sundays. So I would wake up Sunday mornings, turn on a game, and I'd spend 4 hours doing my work. And I just do it all in one shot. I also talk to people that spend an hour a day. So that's kind of just dependent upon how you learn and how you study and retain information.
Hey, Adam, I got Henry's question in the chat, and he wanted to know, will it be easy for him, to study one of the courses from his home in Africa? Can you kind of talk about that?
Yes, we have several students from Africa Majority of them do take our soccer courses. I know as of right now, we couldn't hear you very well in regards to your internet connection, but that's why you always get the Zoom recording sent to you. And to study from Africa is no different than studying from the United States. It's the same idea. And we've had several people take our courses from all over the world. I've even had a student from Nepal, which their internet, because they're so high up and they're so limited, is very hard to do, but he passed our courses. We've had people from Thailand and several other countries where the internet's not the best, but they get through it, and we're always willing to work with you. And you also, Henry, would get a discount being in Africa. The majority of countries in Africa do receive a discount off the courses as well.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Adam. And then I got another one from Glenn, who reached out to me and describes that, education hasn't been necessarily a strong suit or taking different types of traditional classes. Can you kind of talk about how someone learns may be different and how actually SMWW courses, can actually benefit in sort of a non-traditional learning sense?
I completely understand him. I struggle with some of my college courses. I love the online format, and some people are very scared of it at first. They're afraid of coming on and having and interacting with other people on Zoom like we are tonight. But what I love about our courses is basically you want to be on those Zoom calls that are with your instructors, because that's where you form a bond with your instructors. You interact with your instructors, you get to interact with so you want to make the majority of those Zoom calls, but the rest of the coursework you're doing while you have free time throughout your week. So like I said, I was part owner of a brewery and restaurant. I would try and bang out most of my coursework on Sunday mornings in like a 4-hour time period, but there was other times where I get home at 12 p.m. at night. Well, just like if you're working a 9-to-5 job, I can't go to sleep as soon as I get home from work. So I would do some of my readings from 12 a.m. until 1:30, 2 a.m. because that's when I was off work. And that's what I love about the online platform is that you don't have specific, you don't have a professor going, I need this assignment in by Wednesday. You have weekly assignments that you're just doing while you have free time throughout your week. So no matter if you work third shift or you're working from noon until 8, whenever it may be, the courses really work around your schedule, and you're doing the coursework while you have free time, and you can pretty much do it at your own pace. So it's completely different than what people think of as a university course.
Awesome. Well, thanks for answering that, Adam. I think that's a great response, and I completely agree as someone that's taken a number of our classes too. I don't have any other direct questions in my chat inbox, so I think we may be ready to call it there unless there are any other last minute questions. But Mikhail, I get the thumbs up. Adam, I get the thumbs up. I'm going to give my thumbs up too. So everyone, thank you very much for joining us here today for another rendition of our Doc Talk. Again, we will be sending out the recording tomorrow once it becomes available, and we are uploading all of our Doc Talks on Spotify, so you can find them there. And we look forward to having you all in Liam Ridgewell's soccer talent identification class that starts October 3rd. Make sure to use the discount code Liam100 in all caps and no spaces. And we look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Have a great evening, everyone.
By the way, hair's looking high and tight tonight. It's looking good.
You got it.
Real quick, guys. If you are an alumni like Carlos, you took one of my courses. Till the end of September, you do get a $400 discount, guys, on the next course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for the reminder there, Mikhail. $400 discount for all SMWW alumni. So make sure to utilize that before the end of the month. All right, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Guys.